And obviously the person that took this life, this is heartbreaking, Will. This is heartbreaking, Will.
Alright, so the recent death of Charlie Kirk undeniably left a massive space for normie right-wing content for the American right to gobble up. And it looks like someone in the ether of the right-wing media space suspiciously pushing a bright-faced, squeaky, suited-up lobby boy in Brilyn Hollyhand. And if it were to surprise you, yes, immediately after Charlie Kirk's death, it looks like Brilyn somehow already hopped on 3 interviews one after another, like nothing happened. Like, for some reason, here's him on Fox News an hour after Kirk was announced dead, eerily smiling like this was his last chance to carry the torch. I mean, the optics alone should make anyone raise an eyebrow. Who on God's green earth coordinates national media appearances that fast, unless the infrastructure was already there waiting?
It's also an incredible story that you share with us really quickly, Brilyn, about 4th grade, a podcast. That's incredible. And Charlie Kirk appears on your podcast. Tell me about the role he played for you as a mentor.
Yeah, again, it's somebody that didn't have to do that. He was on Fox News every other hour that year. He didn't have to make time for me as an 11-year-old with this upcoming podcast in the 4th grade to come on and join me, but he did. And not only was it a one-time thing, I've interviewed hundreds of people that I've never talked to again. He stayed a mentor, and he texted me up until this week when I was on another Fox show congratulating me. Like, he didn't have to do that. He could have viewed me as competition. He could have said, oh, I'm not going to give this kid time, but he did. And what I think the larger theme here is the left loves to preach tolerance. They love to preach tolerance. And in situations like this, that's the last thing we're seeing. The media coverage on the other side of the aisle is not like this. I was just scrolling through channels, and obviously the person that took this life, this is heartbreaking, Will. And I really hope, if anything, that people get off the sidelines. This weekend, I'm going to a youth rally in South Carolina, and you better believe that I've already had my team shoot me text saying, Brilyn, you really need to caution this. You really need to think about not standing in the middle of a park and speak to the next generation. But I am more energized than ever to carry on this torch, to carry on this legacy, because that's what Charlie would have wanted. He would have wanted us to continue to fight the good fight, just like he did.
No doubt, Brilyn. No doubt. Thank you so much.
And you might have noticed the artificial headlines from several articles that all of a sudden also popped up the guy. And you have the Telegraph, the New York Post, and other major news outlets promoting this guy. So looking into him and reading more about him, he honestly seems like somewhat of an artificial plant. And all of a sudden after that, the guy's on the Ben Shapiro show out of nowhere. Like, Ben Shapiro doesn't just book random college freshmen on a whim. There's clearly someone making the calls behind the scene to get this guy in front of every major conservative platform, simultaneously promoting him on the New York Post after Charlie Kirk immediately died.
Is Brilyn Hollyhand. He's a 19-year-old political commentator. He's best-selling author of One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. He's chair of the RNC's Youth Advisory Council, and he's host of his own show, The Brilyn Hollyhand Show. Brilyn, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Ben, thanks for having me. Happy Friday. I appreciate the opportunity.
And now somehow the guy is now in some private jet heading to different campuses on what is now a 10-stop campus tour. Like, shouldn't a campus tour have some inkling of hype around it? The kind of hype that builds organically over, like weeks or months. Not materialize overnight with sold out venues before anyone knows even who this Brilyn guy is.
What's up, America? Brilyn Hollyhand here, about 30,000 feet up. We are on the way to Arkansas. So everybody in line at the University of Arkansas to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. We are coming to you right here, right now. Stay in line. We have gotten a third room as we have sold out this campus stop 3 times. But we are coming to you. We will fit you in. Students will get priority, but we will make it happen. I cannot be more excited. We are back. We are on the road. We're coming to you one conversation at a time. If you're not at the University of Arkansas, we're coming to a campus near you soon, so check out my tour dates. We'll see you super soon.
And the guy came out of nowhere, and you can obviously see the guy has negative charisma and zero speaking chops.
Very nice to meet you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he said you did visit.
And apparently I'm supposed to believe this guy has already sold 2 different rooms in his campus tour, and is with the most well-known media right-wing guy in Ben Shapiro. And everyone is supposed to act normal and not see the obvious astroturfing of the guy. And I'm sorry, it's exactly the opposite of what's attracting people to the GOP or the new right-wing. People are actually gravitating toward authentic voices, toward people who actually grinded their way up to the top through podcasts and social media followings, and it may include several bans and whatnot and controversies. It actually doesn't include polished products like Brilyn, who get handed everything on the silver platter by establishment money or positions on Ben Shapiro's podcasts. And again, the guy's not really a talented speaker. Someone who doesn't even come close to the talent of a Charlie Kirk or Nick Fuentes, for example. And say what you will about those guys, but at least they earned their platforms through years of building audiences and refining their messages to masses. And Brilyn sounds like he's reading from a teleprompter, even when he's not supposedly speaking off the cuff, if you actually hear him.
While 72% of Republicans overall believe America's military should support Israel, only 32% of Gen Z Trump voters feel that way. Julian Becerra, a conservative influencer on TikTok, agreed.
We need to invest in the United States first. And I think it's hypocritical of conservatives to say, yes, we're for deportations. We want to build a wall, seal up the border to put America first, but also say, hold on, because it's Israel, let's go ahead and send them billions of dollars.
It's part of a free-thinking mindset fueled by the powerful social media landscape.
I think the younger demographic, which has access to the social media and understands that platform, can hear the different opposing views, and they're starting to make up their mind and not just have that blind support for it.
While that's true, there are plenty of young conservatives who are pushing back. 19-year-old Brilyn Hollyhand works with the RNC to get out the Gen Z vote.
I think that that's a fringe that has gotten really loud. It certainly doesn't represent the vast majority of MAGA that I talk to, specifically on college campuses, just from my perspective. For me specifically, I mean, this support of Israel isn't a political stance, it's a biblical stance. And it's very clear, repeatedly throughout the Bible that those that bless Israel, the Lord will bless them. That's not something that is old or false or dated. That is still a truth here in 2025.
Anyways, it does look like on X, the Groypers and other people who are interested on this guy have really dug deep on his background and sort of declared an informal Groyper war on the guy. I mean, they're investigating his past, and honestly, the stuff they're finding is pretty revealing. And apparently they found out that Brilyn apparently had access to the White House admin in 2016 for some reason, even when he was some kid. Even if you just try to think about that for a second, a kid who wasn't even old enough to drive somehow had the connection to sit down with senior White House officials. And I'm sorry, that doesn't happen unless someone very powerful is opening doors for you.
Oh no.
And the guy has already replied to people questioning his background and his astroturf the rise out of nowhere, especially given the timing and context of his rise following the Charlie Kirk assassination. And he addressed the criticism about him using a private jet for his campus tour, where he claimed it was a one-time favor from a hometown friend due to financial constraints. And remember that, financial constraints, after attending an English class. So he said it was just to deal with the logistical challenges of his speaking engagements. And the explanation is almost insulting in how transparent it is. We're supposed to believe a broke college student, well, he's obviously not broke, just happened to have a friend with a private jet who was just totally cool lending it out for a multi-state tour. And the guy's already getting ratioed from that response, where people aren't buying his excuse of using a private jet. And the comments are brutal, and rightfully so, because I'm pretty sure people can smell the manufactured narratives from across a mile away. But before we actually go into the weeds of his apparent astroturfing and how he appeared out of nowhere, let's actually introduce the guy. So Brilyn Hollyhand isn't some seasoned figure, he's just a 19-year-old freshman at Auburn University. Yet somehow in the span of days after Charlie Kirk's assassination, again, the media outlets from New York Post to Yahoo News for some reason started describing him as Kirk's rightful protege, the heir apparent, the hand-picked replacement. And I'm sorry, the coordination is just too perfect. It's way too synchronized across multiple outlets to just be coincidental. I mean, there are tweets showing Tyler Bauer, Turning Point's second in command, accusing Brilyn Hollyhand of being paid by Ronald McDaniel and failing the organization. I mean, that's a huge accusation coming from inside Turning Point itself. I mean, I guess it would suggest even Kirk's own organization is divided on whether this kid is legitimate or just another establishment plant from the GOP, or some guys propping him up. But here's where we kind of find an answer. There are tweets that I found saying Brilyn Hollyhand's family, which is in commercial real estate apparently, profits from Section 8 housing in Alabama. So allegedly his family basically makes money off political connections to HUD and government benefits. I mean, this is the kind of crony capitalism populist conservatives are supposed to be fighting against. And yet here's their supposed new champion literally profiting from it through their family business. So you have undesirable people living next to you all of a sudden. And going into Hollyhand's origin story even further reads almost too perfect. I mean, supposedly he launched a political podcast in the 4th grade. Then he created the Truth Gazette as a teenager, a conservative news site that magically gave him credibility before he even finished middle school. I'm sorry, who is helping a 4th grader set up a podcast infrastructure? who's funding a middle schooler's news website? None of this really happens without serious money and connections backing it from day one. And the connection to Charlie Kirk was, from what I found, established really early in his career. At just 11 years old, Hollyhand apparently got his first interview with Charlie Kirk, and apparently that chance meeting blossomed into somewhat of a mentorship, with Hollyhand appearing at TPUSA events. He then spoke along big names where he positioned himself as a polished face of the movement, all before he was even old enough to vote. And we're supposed to believe this was all merit-based? I'm sorry. That like an 11-year-old just naturally impressed his way into inner circles of top conservative media through pure talent. And you've obviously seen his pure talent. And by 2023, apparently, the machine had already placed him on the RNC's Youth Advisory Council. So he wasn't just in the room now, he was really being elevated. And these positions just don't go to random kids. From what I'm guessing, they go to people whose family are connected from the inside, whose parents know the right people and can write the right checks. But of course, the real leap came this year, with Kirk's sudden assassination leaving a vacuum, and Hollyhand somehow sliding right in. So within hours, he was giving interviews, and within days, headlines started branding him as Kirk's natural successor. I mean, the speed of it is what gives the game away. You can't manufacture that kind of media blitz overnight unless the pieces were already in place. I mean, unless someone was just waiting for the right moment to push the button. And now, private jet, a 10-stop campus tour with pre-booked crowds, a full media rollout as the infrastructure was already in place before Kirk's body was cold. I mean, even his delivery style copies Kirk's cadence. Super sharp, confident, almost manufactured. It's like they took everything superficial about Charlie Kirk's presentation and desperately tried to copy and paste it to Brilyn. And that's without any of the substance or years of experience that made Kirk actually effective.
It really means a lot.
Thank you.
I'm obviously a huge fan, support of you and your work, value our friendship and all the projects you've done.
You do a great job.
Looking forward to one.
If you are relentless as you are at 15, we'll all be working for you. I'll tell you, that's non-stop. I know grit when I see it.
So yeah, I'm sorry, this looks totally arranged. We're supposed to believe at 19 this guy's just some student. He's being positioned as a product, for goodness sake. And the way that the right-wing media complex is rushing to prop him up makes this whole thing reek of orchestration. Like the kind of top-down, established, controlled messaging that drove people away from the old GOP in the first place. And since people first noticed him showing up with sold-out campus tickets in his private jet debacle, of course, where he then called his critics, the people who questioned his ascendancy, keyboard warriors, the guy's family background now has been on the spotlight, where his family is apparently loaded with cash and heavily involved with the GOP. So the keyboard warrior line is particularly rich. Like, it's coming from someone who's never had to grind for anything. Someone who's had every door opened by his family money and connections. So people are now pointing out how suspicious it was way back when he was super young. Even when nobody understood how he even secured an interview with Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens.
Hi America, I'm Brilyn Hollyhand, editor-in-chief of the Truth Gazette. This is the big reveal. We are here with Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens from Turning Point USA. We just sat down for an exclusive interview before they speak tonight in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for the 2018 Alabama GOP Summer Dinner. We discussed the Trump administration, fake news media, 2020 elections, and so very much more. Make sure you watch. The interview's coming very soon.
This guy's great, by the way. Big stuff. He's great.
Thank you. Love it.
So yeah, it looks like he's been totally astroturfed by his parents' money. Like, he's not organic at all. But hey, it does look like Brilyn is definitely carrying the torch on at least one of Charlie Kirk's main issues with Israel. So I guess he got the talking points memo on what's non-negotiable in establishment conservative circles. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm starting to post more often, trying to hit 1,000 subs soon. If you liked the video, please subscribe, hit that like button, and peace.